All I gotta say is those two teams, they were both bitches. Dude, just play the game.
I don't know, man. If somebody literally dies on the field, I feel like we probably gotta stop playing for today.
For what?
Because he died.
For what? For what? What is that? What is you not playing? What is that gonna be?
That's what that got. You guys ready?
Yeah, man.
This your forecast. We doing it again? I don't think it's necessary.
It's always necessary. That is a good one.
I warmed up for that one.
Free agency edition.
Yeah, dude. Our rookie fever is it's gone away for a little bit.
It has, dude. I'm gonna be honest. I don't care about them at all. I'm just waiting on more and more alerts.
How have the Reddits been?
They're still having rookie fever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're still like
a bunch of losers.
I know. So let's start with who was it that you said? Oh no.
Elijah Mitchell. I got him in my fantasy league. It's looking up from here, fellas. We've been holding on.
Yeah, listen, if you have Mitchell, awesome. I mean, that's a cool landing spot. If you don't have Mitchell, I'm not clamoring to go get him or anything. It's not like they paid him, but it is interesting they went out of their way to go grab him pretty early on in free agency. It was,
the kind of news that you only notice if he's on your team.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe that's why we sucked, because the first thing we talked about was Elijah Mitchell after all the signings that were made.
That was my fault for reminding you about it.
Let's talk about the big money one.
Breaking this afternoon, the man who led the Vikings to one of their best seasons ever is getting paid and headed to the Pacific Northwest. Reports say today, Sam Darnold, who won 14 games with the Purple and Gold last season, is heading to Seattle on a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
3 years?
3 years, $100 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of tough? Because they also traded DK. That's tough.
Yep. It is tough.
I mean, you better hope they got a good system. I mean, I like Kenneth Walker. I think Tyler Lockett and Jackson.
Lockett's gone. Lockett, they cut him.
Did they?
It's the same day they traded DK.
Dang, I shouldn't have gave away Jake Bobo. Or do I still have him?
I think Seattle's probably a prime candidate to draft somebody.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know if it's good or bad for JSN. It's got to be good that the two other target leaders are gone.
It's good.
Right. Yeah, it's got to be good.
And
it's still in the positive.
Despite what I think about giving Sam Darnold $100 million, it was Geno last season.
That's not a bad contract.
I think Darnold is an upgrade over Geno, in my opinion, if we get what we saw for the majority of last year. But, I mean, that's to be determined.
I think it was a good contract. I think for both Sam Darnold and the Seahawks. It's 3 years, $100 million, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's not even top 10, right?
It's not.
It's not. I can't.
It's like top 20, maybe.
It's probably top. It's probably. I'll say there's probably 8 guys that aren't quarterbacks that have a higher contract.
Yeah.
Per year.
So yeah, I think Seahawks. I mean, that's an affordable contract for your highest paid position. Right. So, and Sam Darnold, how can you complain about $100 million after you thought you might never play again?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's definitely a win-win situation for them. He gets a chance to actually be a stopgap for a few years and be, essentially what Geno was for that team. Give him a chance to potentially make the playoffs and stuff.
He could really turn up and even get even better,
So I don't need a quarterback in Spudge League, right?
Yeah, I don't want. Yeah, I don't know. It's really tough because
it's stack.
I mean, he went from some of the best weapons to a team that had really good weapons, and now they don't.
One receiving option. Because Kenneth Walker isn't all that out of the backfield. Charbonnet's whatever.
No, Van's not on there, is he?
He was on there.
Yeah, so he was in Seattle. I don't know if he was a free agent or not.
That's tough.
So it's really the question now is, how early do they take a receiver? Because they're going to have to.
One. I would say one.
Sure.
Unless they make some other signing, because there's still dudes that are out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's guys like Christian Kirk sitting out there who can definitely be productive NFL players and help teams.
He went to the Texans.
Oh, he did get traded. I'm sorry. Yes, he got traded to the Texans. Straight.
But there are teams that have been trading these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. You're seeing receivers fly around right now, which is crazy. But in my opinion, I think that shows the lack of faith in the draft class. That's kind of the takeaway they got from the combine was okay, we have to trade for Deebo Samuel. We have to trade for DK Metcalf. Like, we have to go get a guy because we don't have the opportunity for one in the draft.
It's kind of cool because it'll be kind of like a way to see who's right. It's like the Pittsburgh saying, we don't really like these guys, and while Seahawks are like, actually, we do, if they go see receiver, of course. But like, actually, we got some guys.
Well, they're definitely going to get a receiver.
Imagine Mecca. That would be cool as shit. You got Mecca and Jackson Smith going both from Ohio State.
I think it's a good fit, too, actually. Like that does actually sound like a nice fit for your 1 and 2.
But whether he
Ohio State knows.
How late is Seahawks pick? Probably.
I want to say they're 22 off the top of my head, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, that's Amica territory, right?
For sure, yeah.
That'd be cool.
Matthew Golden, and probably second or third receiver off the board for sure could go in that range. So, from a dynasty perspective, I think it's about what you could hope for out of Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
He got paid enough guaranteed money that it's, he's the starter for 2 years.
Right.
Like, you can almost lock it in. It's minimum 1 year, all year this year, if he's healthy. And then maybe they draft somebody to, stand behind him for a year, half a year or something. So
in other words, the same thing ain't going to happen that happened to him last year with Minnesota. Where it's kind of, I felt like it was a little bit of a surprise they took McCarthy to me. But, in other words, it's not going to happen this year. At best next year.
I thought last year, I didn't find it a surprise. I thought it was just Sam Darnold's the backup.
That's how I read it, too, was, here we go. McCarthy's starting. But
he made it happen, though. So the guy that used to be starting for the Seahawks reunited with Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
Just moments ago, the Seattle Seahawks have agreed to terms with the Las Vegas Raiders on a blockbuster trade, sending their starting quarterback, Geno Smith, a 2-time Pro Bowler, to Las Vegas in exchange for a 2025 third-round pick.
That's awesome. That's a
Vegas
cool storyline.
You
couldn't write the script any better.
Couldn't. Not unless you were Geno Smith. But he don't write back.
Yeah, he don't write back.
So
I
don't think he wrote it either.
They wrote me off. I didn't write back.
That's a bar, man. That's actually super tough.
Yeah, that actually is really tough. He has no idea what we're talking about.
I don't.
Yeah, they wrote me off. I ain't right back, though. That's the problem. I ain't right back. Let's go.
All right. Congratulations, Geno.
That was the end of the interview.
It was awesome.
It was tough.
It was really tough.
Yeah, I like Geno being at the Raiders. I like Pete Carroll. I don't like that he has. Who's his wide receiver? Jacoby Myers?
Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
That's what you got. I love it for Brock Bowers. As far as a stability standpoint goes, I know that Geno will probably start the whole year. I don't really see Pete Carroll. I mean, and maybe they draft Shedeur or something at 6, but if they're not drafting a quarterback in the first, I'm very confident that Geno starts the year there. And just having the stability of, hey, this is the starting quarterback. And it's clear Geno can be a leader of men. He walked into Seattle as an underdog, and the team rallied behind the guy.
Yeah.
But just knowing who your quarterback is week to week is huge for Brock Bowers.
I don't know if I feel that great though, because how great did I don't think Noah Fant is obviously at the same level as Brock Bowers, but
right.
I mean, the last 2 years Noah Fant's been pretty irrelevant.
Right.
So I don't know. It could. I mean, game plans and all that, but I still feel like a lot of quarterbacks just stick to their what they're there now.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that might not be.
I will say, to me, it's not only is Brock Bowers significantly better than Noah Fant, it's different stratosphere level players.
Yeah.
And on top of that, Noah Fant isn't what JSN, Tyler Lockett, or DK Metcalf have been.
Yeah.
And outside of Bowers, like you said, it's Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
It's not good out there. They're a team that at 6, I can see them take 10 at 6.
Yeah.
That wouldn't shock me overly or anything like that. So.
And Trey Tucker.
Yeah, there he is, Trey Tucker. What a little speedster he is.
Yeah, honestly, he's probably the closest one to Tyler Lockett. That's another guy. They could go get him.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be cool.
They have the rapport.
Couldn't write the script any better.
Well, DK could have got traded there, but more on that later. But
so apparently, DK and Geno were offered as a pair, I think, and they said no. I saw something about that.
I think Geno would be I think he'd be a good fit there.
Yeah.
Though Russ would be another good fit too.
I think the other holdup was they wanted Max Crosby. They offered like DK and Geno, and they're like, "We'll take Max Crosby off your hands." And they're like, "We're just gonna hold on to Max Crosby." I think probably a good call.
Oh, so they were offered as a pair, not to the Steelers, but to the Raiders.
To the Raiders,
oh, okay,
yes.
Okay,
Sorry.
yeah. Why would you ask for Max? That's like he's untradeable, bro.
Right? Yeah.
It's
tough.
Just give us your whole stadium, and we'll consider it.
They need to get the Raiders. Definitely need to get somebody else because Geno's made his money off of throwing deep.
Yeah, for sure. He likes doing that.
That's his thing.
Yeah.
And they don't have.
They don't have that.
They don't have the.
No, they do not. Not as of right now. Yeah.
It's like Geno to the Steelers.
Yeah.
I like what they're doing, though. It's the kind of change that's like progressive. They're heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, okay, stability all around. You know, you got a coach, you know, you don't have to worry about Pete Carroll going anywhere. He's probably just going to play out this contract, you know, and just see how it goes.
You just have to worry about him staying alive. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the other thing.
You
got to worry about
He's
retirement.
Like 80 years old now.
So
Come on.
we haven't had a president of the United States that hasn't been over 80 years old ever. So like, like why are you worried about Pete Carroll?
Well, I'm not worried about the president being over 80.
It's because politicians don't die because of how much they lie. They feed off of it and they eat the babies or whatever. Right?
Drinking the blood,
Yeah, they drink from the fountain of youth.
The lizard people.
Yeah, him and.
I'm not going to disagree with you guys. Politicians are bad people.
We don't just hate coaches. We hate politics. We hate everybody.
Yeah, if you're an authority figure, watch out. Simple as that.
Whoa. I'm not.
We're going to start talking about Luigi now?
Yeah, stop that. Stop that. That's not me.
Yeah, we're going to get censored. I didn't say anything about
Cut that out. Cut it.
So we're talking about former Seattle players. Next one, DK.
The Seahawks are trading DK Metcalf to the Pittsburgh Steelers, according to multiple reports. The Steelers are sending a 2025 second-round pick to Seattle.
DK and Pittsburgh.
Metcalf.
Yeah, I love it.
I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah. Or did you trade him or?
No, I still got him in 2 leagues.
I figured you'd keep him now.
I mean, he's the clear one, right?
Honestly, I would say that.
Probably, he is to me. Probably. He is to me.
To me, yeah, experience and everything.
Yeah.
He does a lot more than George Pickens. But I would just say on the outsides, if you like they're both ones, you know.
Yeah. Oh, well, they're definitely both alphas.
Yeah.
Is what I'll say. They're
sure.
like 100%. All the clips on Twitter have been like George Pickens and DK 30 yards downfield, like on fourth and
just
or
crashing
like first and goal or something.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's gonna be awesome, and fits Pittsburgh, I think, perfectly too. Just DK Metcalf.
Yeah, for sure, he fits the attitude kind of stuff that they're kind of known for at this point.
Yeah.
My only issue is I don't know what the hell's going to happen at quarterback.
Yeah, I was going to say that. That's the big.
It's starting to seem like it's either Rodgers or rolling with Russell Wilson again.
Yeah.
And I don't really see any other routes to a starting quarterback.
Why would you? But I feel like there's something going on behind the scenes where they're trying to figure something out or they have a plan. Because why would you even go and get?
It's because they want Big Ben to come out of retirement.
Dude, he can't even throw the ball downfield far enough for these two guys. Kenny Pickett's already been traded back to the ground, so they can't even get him now.
Pittsburgh is stuck in a spot. You know, kind of like purgatory that people talk about a lot, where the team is good enough to be competitive and potentially go to the playoffs every year and even win a game here and there.
They don't have that one piece.
They don't have the quarterback where it's like, okay, we're a real contender.
Right.
But because of that, they're never picking high enough to get that guy either. And Pittsburgh doesn't trade up. They don't trade up. Like, not in the first.
You know what could get them there? The name that shouldn't be spoken. You know what I'm talking about.
Talking about shitter?
No.
Dude, I read that. I read they were talking to him.
No.
If they bring back, man.
No.
All right, or Pickett. Which one would you rather have?
Oh,
yeah, I knew you would say that.
Yeah, I think honestly, out of all the guys that Russ, Aaron Rodgers, anybody else that's available, Winston is my pick out of everybody.
That's crazy.
And he's not even available, so
Winston would be awesome.
Winston would be cool. There's a few spots that I'd be interested in with Winston. Minnesota's probably my favorite. I would love to see Winston with a coaching mind like O'Connell with Justin Jefferson,
They would hate each
Hawkinson,
other.
and Addison.
They would absolutely hate each other. There's no way Jameis Winston would fit under Kevin O'Connell.
Kevin O'Connell seems like military kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, you do what I tell you to do.
And Jameis Winston's like, yeah, okay.
Hey, coach, watch this.
Yeah. Well, Justin Jefferson would probably bail him out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Jefferson would probably break every record in a single season if he got 17 games out of Jameis Winston.
Targeted on interceptions as well.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Yeah. Like, well, we'd probably be looking at another 30-pick season from Jameis.
Dude, I would love Jameis to go there. But that'd be great for DK and George. That's like right. That's right for them.
Yeah.
Like, Mike Evans had one of his best seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. Jameis can produce for fantasy purposes. Like, the pieces around him are going to be fine.
Yeah.
You know, we saw that this year with the Browns for the short stint he was there. It was like, Jerry
Jeudy's
a top 12 receiver. When did that happen? You know.
Yeah. So you guys are buying DK because you're counting on the Steelers to figure that out.
No. I love it for football. I love it for the Steelers. I would never do. I don't want anything to do with either of them for fantasy.
I have kind of a hot take here. I don't want anything to do with Pittsburgh. For fantasy purposes, I want zero to do with that.
Is that including Najee?
Especially because he's a Charger.
Tracking more news out of the NFL where Najee Harris is headed to Los Angeles to join the Chargers. This comes per multiple reports. Harris has agreed to a one-year deal worth up to $9.5 million.
I'm okay with Najee.
I'm even extending that to old.
Yes, now I'm okay with Najee for fantasy purposes.
I'm not. I'm still not.
I mean, I don't love it. Najee isn't great. I wouldn't even say he's good. I think he's an average back.
Never fumbles. He never fumbles.
I mean, that's great.
He's always available every game. He's never hurt.
You know what would be a good stat to know is how many fantasy football, like people who win the whole league, how many people roster certain players. Like, I would like to know how many people rostered Najee Harris and won the whole league.
You can actually find that.
Really?
I'll have to try to find it, yeah. But every year I see a list of, like, here's the 30 percentage-based most owned players on championship rosters.
The top
like
10 is always going to be.
Yeah, this year it was Barkley and Chase were like the two biggest ones.
It's whoever has a good week 16, a good week 17.
Yep,
maybe 15.
Basically. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Yeah, sometimes you see like waiver wire guys like Chris Rodriguez was like 40% and like the most owned player on championship rosters like 3 years ago because he got 2 starts for Washington and scored like 5 touchdowns in those 2 games, and they just happened to get him off waivers. So that's definitely how it goes. But yeah, it is nice to be able to see that kind of stuff.
Because I feel like Najee, dude, I feel like you're probably not going to have a lot of people because that's right in the area of like, who do I start? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
you have to have the right roster construction, in my opinion, to have Najee Harris. Like, if Najee's your one, you're probably not going to win a lot of games. Yeah. Like if he's my RB1 in fantasy, you know. But if he's my 3, and I have 2 guys every week, I know I can reliably start over Najee Harris.
Yeah.
And then now he's just like a flex option for me, kind of deal. I'm comfortable having Najee Harris. Like I know he's going to be one of those guys who gets 18 plus touches every single week because he's done it every year of his career.
Yeah. This guy is such a undervalued guy, especially by Jacob and everybody else. Being able to just have a running back that you know that you can count on and not worried about making all these decisions.
You're such a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
That's like been every single Steelers running back forever where they've just been mid, but they don't fumble. Like Jerome Bettis.
Le'Veon Bell was not mid.
Okay.
Jerome Bettis got in the Hall of Fame by being mid. I mean,
okay.
Hey,
Hall of Fame.
James Conner, also a dog.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Yeah, it's still kind of mid. Rashad Mendenhall, like these are all.
He was a bum.
Yeah. Why? Just because he suggested the white versus black team? Okay, whatever, dude. That would be hilarious to see that game. And now we got Cooper, baby.
We have 2 corners. That's it. No other DBs.
Yeah. Let's hope Riley Moss is all right.
Yep, exactly.
What if they're like half? That's what I want to know.
They don't get to play it off. That's what.
Wow.
Well,
you don't get to pick a side. That's fair.
I think that's fair because it's like who you don't get to pick now.
It's like asking kids to pick which parent they like the most. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Got some breaking news into the HQ. Davante Adams and the Los Angeles Rams have agreed to a 2-year contract worth $46 million.
Yeah.
Very crazy.
That's
Why
a crazy thing.
Why are you getting rid of Cooper Kupp just bringing Davante Adams? I don't get
Puka
it.
just giving up his number then for him.
I saw that. Yeah, switching to
Very
number
nice.
12.
Very nice.
You got to pay him some money. He got that big contract. He's getting some money
That's
for that.
true. He should.
So my understanding, at least from the post I saw from Puka, was he was switching because he's always worn 12. It's like the legacy number for the Nakulas. Everybody in the family wears 12.
But he couldn't.
But 12 was already taken. Yes.
By who?
I don't know if it was Van Jefferson. It might have been
No, because he
DeMarcus Robinson.
Okay.
Whoever it was there when he got there, obviously.
Screw you.
He
Whoever
was,
has 12.
what, a 5th round pick. He doesn't get to come in and be like, hey, I'll give you 30 G's if you give me my number. Like, now he kind of gets to have a say and stuff like that.
My daddy wore that number. Give me it.
Exactly. And they're all like, yeah. So did mine.
Okay, buddy. Get out of here.
But that's a weird signing to me. I don't like it.
Is Cooper Kupp going? Like, what's going on?
They said they're going to cut him if they don't get a trade offer by like a certain time. Like I think Friday this week actually.
Is it will it be a waiver thing too? So everybody will.
No,
have
he's
a
a
chance?
full free agent. Everybody has a chance to make him an offer.
Okay.
It's not just a bid. So we'll be negotiating a new contract if nobody trades for him.
Dude, that guy was like if you're a coach, that's the perfect guy you want on your team. Like he's like a model football player.
Cooper Kupp, yeah, he's everything you could ask for as a coach.
And that's the thing is, I feel like Cooper Kupp and Davante Adams can play pretty much the same role.
I agree.
That slot guy, do the quick cuts, the good route running, and all that. So why get rid of Kupp and just get the same guy but black version of him?
I think he said it.
Like I don't get it.
I mean. Honestly, they must know something we don't, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe the Kupp injury stuff over the last year is more severe than we've been led to believe. But it does seem strange, especially for a guy that's been like such a big part of the organization for the last almost decade now. But I personally love it for Davante Adams. Matt Stafford has shown when Cooper Kupp and Puka were both on the field and healthy. Okay. That's all the targets.
Yeah.
There is no targets for Tyler Higbee. There is no targets for Tutu Atwell.
Yeah.
There's nothing for Kyron. It's I'm throwing the ball 30 times, and both these guys are getting 15. And Davante Adams has demanded targets from every quarterback he's ever played with.
Well, and that's the thing is Matt Stafford's one of those old guys who's experienced enough to know where this receiver wants the ball, and he can do it. So
great ball placement.
Yeah, they'll have a great synergy to just be able to just run the freaking. Not run the ball, pass the ball.
So you're buying him. So you're buying him too?
At the right price.
I think I'm kind of done with Davante Adams. I think it's just like,
just over it.
I'm just over him. Yeah.
I've got some teams like in the Spudge League where like I have enough 30-plus-year-old receivers. I'm not going in on another one.
Well, I'm an Eagles fan, not a Steelers fan, so I don't live in the past. I don't hold on to the past and hope that it just comes back willy-nilly.
Well, that's the thing about Davante Adams. What I would say is, it's not holding on to the past. It's like he's still good. Like the president we got last year. Yeah, he was like top 15 in points per game last year. He was still a really good player.
Trash.
And I think you can probably get a season or two of top 20 production for top 50 prices. I love buying in on that
theory.
when I have exactly in theory.
In theory.
Assuming it doesn't fall off a cliff and Father Time shows up earlier than I'm expecting.
Yeah,
these older receivers, I said my New Year's resolution was I'm not buying an older quarterback on a new team.
So you're gonna go for wide receivers.
But wide receiver, I think has an even worse track record of switching teams when you're at this age, 30, whatever the hell he is.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just worried. I think I would be selling Davante, and if he has a good year this year, I would just eat it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. My philosophy for the most part is I would rather get out a year early than sell a year late. For sure. Like I'll eat that year every single time because the majority of the time I'm right about it.
Yeah.
Just selling off the guy. But yeah, it's definitely a
eventually
situational thing. It's like I have some rosters like in the OG league where I literally only have young guys. Like I don't have any old veterans. So if I can get an old veteran cheap who's going to give me production, I would love to add guys like that in that league. But
you're right though. It all does depend on how your roster is constructed. So
I will say I'm not willing to pay more than I was 2 days ago, like before free agency. Like I would like Davante Adams at the exact same price. I'm not going to pay an early second or like a late first to get Davante Adams. I'm just not doing that.
Most of the people probably should have sold him already if you were wanted to sell him because there's pretty much no way it gets better than the Rams, and we all still feel the same way about him.
Yeah.
So
if you wanted to sell Davante Adams, you probably should have done it when it was him and Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show announcing that he signed,
absolutely.
and it was like, oh yeah, Davante Adams. I mean, I remember talking with you guys about it, and I was like, I think Davante comes in right away, and he's in the whole receiver. Like Garrett Wilson, forget about him. Like,
nope.
Is that what you said when we were in? We had a podcast.
Yeah. I was Davante Adams. I think you guys were both on the Garrett Wilson side.
I'm on none of them.
You know, it kind of worked both ways. Like they both had some really big games, but Garrett Wilson was getting targets.
They go both ways. You heard it here first.
Are you finished? This is a family podcast.
I said it goes both. They go both ways. That's what I just heard.
What kind of innuendo?
What about Tutu Atwell? Didn't he get like a $10 million?
He got $10 million.
What a good guy
to re-sign with the Rams. That's crazy. Crazy talk.
You know,
it's just where it's at.
He has like 500 yards in 3 seasons. DeAndre Hopkins signed about an hour ago for $6 million in Baltimore. You're telling me DeAndre Hopkins is worth $4 million less than Tutu Atwell for 1 year?
Oh yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah, he's kind of bummed.
That's crazy.
What about I think the best situation for Chris Godwin happened.
It's just into the newsroom. Chris Godwin is staying in Tampa. NFL Network reporting the Bucs are re-signing the receiver to a 3-year, $66 million deal. $44 million of that is guaranteed.
Yeah, for sure. Re-signing in Tampa.
Yeah.
I think that's best for Godwin, best for Baker, best for Mike Evans.
Yeah, I think best for
it only hurts Jalen McMillan. Like as far as being an asset. Exactly. But we had already talked about McMillan, right? Like we went over the touchdown reliance and how that kind of stuff doesn't stick. And, I think even front offices, good ones, are smart enough to see that kind of stuff. Like, okay, well, he's not going to put up 5 or 7 touchdowns in 5 games. That's just not a reasonable pace.
Don't you remember when the guy from the Eagles, they asked him if he wanted Chris Carter? He said, no, all he does is catch touchdowns.
I don't remember that. Who said that?
Ryan? Was there a coach named Ryan?
Rex Ryan.
Yeah. Rex, it's his dad.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, no, I do remember this. Yeah, I recall what you're talking about. I've seen that clip before.
Only catch touchdown. We don't like that.
So you guys are back in on Godwin. Well, you guys were liking Godwin. You mentioned him in the... I was the only one that get out of here with that.
I like him. It is tough with the...
Don't hurt my dog.
That's domestic abuse.
Yeah, you gotta cut that out, I think.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that.
Give me that. No way.
There he is.
Just the 4
He's like,
yeah, here I am, guys.
Just the 4 guys.
Dude, he probably is just sitting here like wondering what the hell we're doing.
Yeah, he's like, dude, why once a week do these assholes just come over and sit in this room for an hour and a half?
Yeah, no, I like Chris Godwin going or staying there. I don't think there's really much we could even say about that, really.
No, there's not. I don't have the same expectation for performance of what we just saw.
Yeah.
But Chris Godwin is
continue to rock.
And I don't think he's ever depended on athleticism as his calling card. It's not how he's winning in the NFL, in my opinion.
It is interesting that he got 22 a year, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
It's interesting because,
that's a lot of money.
It is a lot. Well, yeah.
It was like 3 years, 60 or 66, something like that.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, I think Davante, I think he signed to 25 a year, Davante Smith.
An extension with you guys?
Yeah.
I'm not positive.
Just kind of
got paid, but
just kind of makes me think like, I don't know.
Davante's better, right?
I mean, he's younger. He's probably better, yeah. I don't know. It's pretty close, I would say, maybe.
I mean,
yeah, it's close.
Yeah, it's definitely close. It's hard to say because of the Godwin injury. Like, I don't know what Chris Godwin is right now. If Chris Godwin doesn't get hurt, I don't think there's an argument for Davante Smith better than Chris Godwin off of what we saw last year for half a season.
Yeah.
He was the number 1 receiver in football when he went down, right? So, tough scene for him, but I think things are looking up. Obviously, Tampa has enough faith to pay him a lot of guaranteed money.
That's the second time they paid him.
Yeah. Second time they paid him coming off of an injury. Like, he's probably a great lock. I've never heard a bad thing about Chris Godwin in my life.
I like it, though. I like it. You're seeing all these players switch teams.
Yeah.
Like the whole Eagles team is on.
Yeah.
They're all.
Well, yeah, that's the Super Bowl, right? That's how that always works.
It's said that you're seeing a lot of Chiefs players get Detroit. But
San Fran, all these teams that were, they're kind of, been pushed in on their window for a few years already.
but I like the concept of like these guys are working good together in the offense.
Yeah.
Why not keep them together?
I will say the start of free agency, I kind of felt the same thing where it felt like that was happening. Like, we saw Myles Garrett end up re-signing.
Yeah.
Who was the other big one? Somebody else requested a trade, but they ended up re-signing. But
that was just probably just the Brandon Ayuk thing. Kind of just
it's always Brandon Ayuk. There's plenty of those, right?
But just you're just trying to drive up your value.
Right, exactly. But yeah, I agree. I miss that. Getting to, have a player that only played for one franchise or like have a franchise great.
Look at Peyton Manning, Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison. They.
Oh, I thought you were saying Peyton Manning went to the Broncos at the end of the career. So.
I know, but I'm just not necessarily so much that they stay with the team, but just like if the team is playing well together, just keep them together.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the Eagles, I think, are doing that pretty well on offense.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Well, we can talk about Washington.
We got breaking news here at CBS Sports HQ. A blockbuster trade. The Texans finalizing a trade of 5-time Pro Bowler Laramie Tunsel to the Commanders. Now, the details of this. We got a 2nd rounder and a 4th rounder next year to the Texans, plus a 3rd rounder as well. Houston sending a 4th rounder and Tunsel over initial funds.
Trade for the Laramie
Tunsel, baby.
Yeah,
Trade for
It was
what is Houston doing? That's my actual question. They traded away 2 of their starting offensive linemen from last year. And CJ Stroud was already the most sacked quarterback in football. Tunsel was the only good one on the entire offensive line.
Yeah.
Really good one, And then they just traded another guard to Philly today, or maybe yesterday for a 5th round pick or something.
For Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Kenyon Green.
Oh, was that?
Yeah, he was like a first-round pick or something, but I don't think he's really panned out to be the first-round pick where he's supposed to be.
Right. But still, it's just, I don't know what to say about Houston. That's like, kind of like Burrow's first year when it was like, why are you drafting Jamar Chase when Penei Sewell's sitting there, protect the guy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I am worried about the CJ Stroud experience coming this year if they don't address the line in a certain way. And even if they address it throughout the draft, it's still a bunch of rookies coming into a situation that apparently from all reports was kind of got a little toxic in the line room last year. Despite Tunsel being so good, all the reports were he's not a leader. He's not, I'm not going to rally the troops. This isn't my job kind of guy.
Yeah.
And when everybody else sucks, there's the expectation for him to step up when everybody's playing that, I guess.
The most, right?
Exactly, yeah. If you're going to be the franchise left tackle for our star quarterback, you got to step up.
I think Tunsel's older, but he's probably still got some time.
He's 28.
Is he really?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought he was older than that, but yeah, that's funny. They're going to have plenty of time with him, and left tackle. Tackle's such a hard position to play, man. That's going to be perfect for him. You guys really didn't give up too much.
It wasn't too.
I think the second was a big thing.
Yeah, the second was the biggest thing. It ended up being the 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
But the 2 and 4 are next year, and the 3 is this year. Yeah. So it wasn't anything crazy, but I think the analytics said it was basically the equivalent of a late first round pick, which we have, but I guess they probably wanted to keep it. So. Yeah. Makes sense.
Well, for the Texans, if you're trading away a guy that's being a knucklehead and you wanted to get rid of him anyway, that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. They at least got something in return. It's they didn't let it devolve into a situation where there was the posturing and trade demands and stuff like that. So that's definitely getting ahead of the 8 ball if that's where that situation was headed in their opinion.
Ahead of the 8 ball
instead of behind it.
I've never heard that phrase before.
Okay.
The one I was just looking at it, I didn't even see it until now. Is Javonte Williams going to the Cowboys?
That was my next thing to bring up.
Day 1 of NFL free agency is not over yet, and the Dallas Cowboys have actually done something on the first day. An outside free agent being added to the club. Javonte Williams, the former 2nd-round pick out of North Carolina, is signing a 1-year deal.
Darnold's a free agent.
Yeah.
And obviously they went out, and it's clear they don't want Darnold, right?
Yeah.
But they only paid Javonte Williams $3 million.
Yeah.
That is
1 year.
That's like you might not make the team kind of money.
Exactly. That's where I'm at.
They just signed Jordan Mason, the 49ers did, for a $5.3 million contract.
I saw that, yeah, and they threw a second-round tender on him. So if anybody wanted to match, they would have to give up a second-round.
So, yeah, I mean, that's almost not even, clearly not even backup money.
Exactly, yeah. That's like if you can find anybody, like maybe an irrational Dallas fan in your league, who is now all of a sudden like, okay, Javonte, like this guy was good 3 years ago, like we can bring the juice back, It's our year. Them boys,
Every year it is.
Yeah, exactly. You definitely get out on Javonte now because they're going to draft somebody. They might even sign another guy.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me whatsoever.
The most you'd be hoping for is that they draft somebody and he just ends up sucking. And Javonte does good.
Yeah, honestly, your best case with Javonte is they work out a deal with Rico Dowdle and then draft a guy in the 5th or 6th round.
Yeah.
And it's okay, well, let's see if the cream can rise to the middle because none of those guys are going to rise to the top. But let's see if we can get some average running back play for real cheap this year and then make it work next year or something.
The same goes for Jalen Warren, right?
Yeah,
I mean he's
for sure.
I saw the post on Reddit. They were saying he's going to be he's the starter now.
That's not totally how it works, right?
I like.
I mean, technically, if we had to play a game today, but that's just not how it works. I believe you guys also put the second round tender on Warren because he was a restricted free agent, so he's not going anywhere. They got him contract, locked in. They're going to draft somebody, right? Everybody's going to draft somebody with this running back class. Nobody's off limits, It wouldn't even surprise me to see the Falcons or Lions draft a running back this year, because people turn through running backs. I mean, you see the Niners take a running back every single year, and every year that guy gets on the field for 3 games and dies. It's just how the running back game goes. So it is something. Another big move we definitely have to talk about because it's a new starting quarterback, Justin Fields on the Jets.
Oh, yeah.
The Jets have a new quarterback. It is Justin Fields, as Ian and I just reported. He is headed to New York on a 2-year deal worth $40 million, including $30 million guaranteed, negotiated by his agent, David Mulugeta of Athletes First.
So Fields told Pittsburgh he would not sign unless he was guaranteed QB1. And Pittsburgh says, we can't do that. And he said, that's fair. I'm going to sign somewhere that will give me that promise.
Yeah.
That's the impression I'm getting.
Even if it's going to end my career.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's okay, either I take a deal somewhere where I have the chance to get on the field and earn another contract, or do I go be a backup somewhere and I coast for 4 years and then I'm out of the league and don't make as much money.
I don't know. If the starting option is the Jets, I might be willing to coast it.
Or try my luck,
Well, for fantasy purposes, what do you guys think about it? For anybody involved in the Jets?
I mean, if you need a starting quarterback for this year, awesome, man.
I agree.
He's played, actually, with the Steelers, is probably his worst year statistically. Per game, even on a per game basis. But even when he goes to Chicago, you're looking at a QB1.
Yeah, so, for sure.
I mean, whether he locks down the job long term, I don't know. Probably not.
I just really hope he brought what he learned in Pittsburgh and combines it with his game from the Bears.
Right.
Because, man, he could be really, really nasty.
I mean, it's the same thing with Anthony Richardson, right? All these guys have the same skill sets as Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels. They just haven't put it all together.
Yeah.
And I don't know. If I'm being honest, I think this is probably the last year we get to watch Justin Fields start in the NFL, as a starter, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to stick. I am a little worried about it, but for fantasy purposes, I totally agree. He's probably a top 15 quarterback, top 18.
Are you worried about Garrett Wilson?
I'm not. And you want to know why? Remember my bounce back candidate, DJ Moore?
Yeah.
That guy had his best year with Justin Fields. It's because Justin Fields finds the guy on the field and hyper targets him and says, you're the guy.
I don't know.
The Jets don't have another guy to throw to.
I just feel like Garrett Wilson and DJ Moore just play so much differently. I don't know. I feel like Garrett Wilson could really benefit from somebody who would throw deep where, I don't know, he's a good route runner, so probably would open. I just feel like DJ Moore did a lot of screens and give me the ball and I'll run.
Right.
And I just feel like Garrett Wilson's not that. So, I don't know.
Yeah, DJ Moore, he's a lot like a running back playing wide receiver.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I like DJ Moore a lot just as a pure receiver.
Not as much as I thought you did.
No, not that much. I don't even think he's the one on the team, for after this year. Maybe not even.
Yeah.
But, no, I think Garrett Wilson's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
The talent's there. And I don't have to pay the price that it was the last 3 years where it's Garrett Wilson's a top 5 receiver. No, he's not. Like, we know that, right? Like, we've seen enough to know that Garrett Wilson is awesome.
Yeah.
That doesn't make you top 5. Terry McLaurin is awesome. He's not a top 5 receiver. It's we can beat the drum about how awesome these guys are all day. It doesn't change the fact that there's a very elite group of guys that have clearly separated themselves, in my opinion. There's 5 or 6 guys. And then everybody else is a tier below that.
Yeah.
But I think he's probably in line for a good fantasy season.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about Breece Hall?
I mean, he was bad last year without Justin Fields. I guess now the idea is running quarterback helps.
Right.
It.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
But with that, on one hand, Fields might steal touchdowns from him.
Exactly.
So...
It definitely... I think I can't even say that it raises the ceiling potential for the offense, right? Like, they had Aaron Rodgers last year. That's the first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback. And obviously, he's not that version of Aaron Rodgers anymore, but... I mean, I've seen some low lows from Justin Fields. Like we've seen him at his worst before, and at his best, he's still a pretty turnover-prone, risky player. Like you said, for fantasy purposes, he was probably at his worst statistically.
Right.
But for football purposes, he's probably at his best in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah. He's not going to be able to play that way and win games in New York. Though.
Exactly. They just don't have that setup. You're going to have to play the Chicago version,
Well, it's just.
But like you said, you're hoping he brings that Pittsburgh stuff with him.
This is a new coach, right?
Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator from the Lions the last few years.
I wonder if they got.
I can't think of who the offensive coordinator is.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder how that is.
That's important.
I think a lot of it's going to end up on how the coaches want to do it. I think Robert Saleh would just run the freaking shit out of the rock with Breece Hall. And I think it's just going to be different. It's just going to be different than the whole thing. A new coach could see, hey, maybe Breece Hall isn't that good, so maybe we're going to only give it to him, a certain amount of times, or maybe we're going to run this certain type of scheme with Justin Fields and Breece Hall and hope that we can get something different going. So I don't think it's going to matter much on Justin Fields, Breece Hall, or Garrett Wilson's part. I think it's just all going to be the coach,
right?
Because you can't run the same offense with Aaron Rodgers as you can with Justin Fields.
Yeah, no.
The Bears did.
The Bears don't give a damn.
What did the Bears do?
They ran pretty much the same offense.
Yeah, and what happened for 4 years with Justin Fields?
Yeah.
A lot of fantasy points, baby. A whole lot of fantasy points. Traded a lot of firsts for those fantasy
points. That's what
points.
I'm saying. They suck. So
they did suck.
Yeah, so
hopefully... So you're counting on the Jets being smart.
Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah. Go get
giant hole in my argument.
Go get him. Go get him. That is so true.
But Nate asked about Breece Hall. Can I just say my opinion hasn't changed at all with Justin Fields being there? Like Garrett Wilson, I'm gonna agree with Nate for Garrett Wilson. This is probably gonna help him because of what you said with DJ Moore. He's just nobody else to throw to.
Yeah. Dude, you don't think he'll throw to Malachi Corley?
The guy who dropped his first ever reception when it could have been a touchdown.
Didn't somebody else do that?
There was three in
Christian
the NFL
Watson.
this year.
Yeah,
Christian Watson. Yep, his first one from Rodgers. Rodgers let him hear it too afterwards.
Go sit down.
Yep.
I remember hearing a story Tom Brady did that to somebody.
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers definitely going to Pittsburgh now, right? Like, where else is he going to go?
The Giants is the other one that everybody keeps talking about. They met with him this morning. The Giants have basically said, Aaron, we want you. It's up to you. Like, just tell us what to pay you. We'll match any offer. If you would like to come here, we want you. We're going to wait to sign anybody else to have a chance to sign the great Aaron Rodgers. Like, that's their pitch. Is the city's yours, right? Like, the team is yours. Come on in.
Dude, he should go. How cool would it be if he went to the Bears? That would be hilarious.
The Bears.
He would always
the Vikings.
Win. He would always
if they're
win.
looking for somebody for a year with McCarthy, coming off, if they're worried about that at all, not being fully healthy for training camp, I could see him following the Brett Favre path to a T. Going to, Minnesota or something. Like, we talked about Jameis. I could see them being like, our team is good. We need to at least have a quarterback.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that would be wild. I just meant because, he always would be like, I own you or whatever.
Yeah.
Chicago.
I was reading that he did not want to go to Minnesota for that reason.
Yeah. That's fair. I wouldn't want to go to Minnesota for that reason.
That would be hilarious.
Also, I don't think it's out of the question that Rodgers sucks bad enough that McCarthy just gets a look by week 5 or 6 and takes the job. Like, that could absolutely happen to me if Aaron Rodgers signs in Minnesota.
Or Aaron Rodgers could win another MVP.
He could. He gets thrown one of the best supporting casts in football if he goes there.
I'd be down for that if he went to Pittsburgh, another MVP.
I think anywhere Rodgers goes,
You're such a loser.
he's gonna have good fantasy options. Like if those are the 3 teams,
Yeah.
You got Pickens and DK, you got Malik Neighbors, which
That's
is
really all I need.
if Aaron Rodgers goes to New York, Malik Neighbors is probably going to have the most targets of any player in a single season ever.
Anybody else?
That, or about halfway through the season, he's going to demand the Giants trade for Davante Adams. there's a decent shot of that happening no matter where he signs.
Dude, if he goes to the Giants, though, think about it, how bad it was with the Jets. He's a good quarterback. He's a bad coach. He's a bad GM.
Yeah.
So go somewhere and play quarterback. The Steelers. He doesn't have to be the coach of the Steelers. He doesn't have to be the GM. Just go there and play quarterback.
What if he wants to?
Do you think him and Tomlin will get along well? I feel like their personalities are just...
No, Tomlin is way pettier than Rodgers is.
Yeah, Tomlin is petty. That's what I mean. Like, I don't think Tomlin wants to get into a petty off mid-season.
Yes, he does.
The team's 4-4.
I guarantee you he does. He thrives on it.
To be fair, if the team is like... If you guys are 3-5 with Rodgers starting, he's benching it. Like, especially if he starts any of this, like, the line's got a block for me, or, like, I can't help receivers catch balls at him in the hands, the kind of shit that Rodgers always says and blames everybody else. If he pulls something like that and Pittsburgh has a losing record and Tomlin's in danger of losing the never not had a winning record, he might just say, ride the bench, bud. Like, I'll go with somebody who wants to help me.
Hey, Mason, where you at?
Yes. No, but that's what Aaron Rodgers needs, though. He needs a little,
he does.
Humbleness, a little humility.
I don't think there's a man alive that can humble Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin's that man.
The problem, like, Aaron Rodgers is just so dense to me. It doesn't matter. Like, you can have the most sound logic ever talking to Aaron Rodgers, and he's gonna be like, "Dude, I'm Aaron Rodgers." It wasn't.
That's true. That's fair.
That's just kind of the vibe I've gotten from Rodgers.
He's kind of got a point.
I got one more.
Okay.
And this guy's not actually that important to it, in my opinion, but he got a decent amount of money. Josh Palmer.
New today coming into the NFL LA newsroom, former Chargers wide receiver Josh Palmer is going to land with the Buffalo Bills. A 3-year deal worth up to $36 million with $18 million in guarantees.
I love it.
And Shakira got.
Yeah, he got a huge extension.
Yeah.
3 years as well, I believe.
Do you think that means that they're not going to get anybody else?
That's kind of what my question was, right? Like, I think they might be kind of comfortable with their 3 of Coleman, Shakir, and Palmer. Especially with, they have $100-some million wrapped up in just Shakir and Palmer.
Yeah.
And I don't think either of those guys are special talents. Like, Khalil Shakir had a good year.
Yeah.
He's a good player. He's a good NFL player.
$40 million.
That's a whole lot of money.
Would you call these guys, like, borderline Jags?
I'll say Shakir's better than Jag for sure. I think Shakir is similar to, like, Christian Kirk level. Where he's a good player. He's definitely a good player. He might not be the greatest fantasy asset, and he's not going to go out there and be, putting up top 10, top 12 numbers every week. But he's a reliable guy for Josh Allen. Josh Allen clearly likes him, and they have a rapport.
Yeah.
But don't you call Josh Palmer a Jag, though?
I might call Josh Palmer a Jag. He might be the definition of a Jag.
I feel like he's the perfect definition of a Jag.
How do you lose the job to Quentin Johnston?
Yeah.
Did he, though?
He got hurt, right? Because that's the Josh Palmer special. But I've just seen so many chances for Josh Palmer to really step up, and he's never done it. Yeah. Like for 3 years straight, it was Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are hurt because they were always hurt. Yeah. Josh Palmer's the only guy, and you never got what you wanted out of Josh Palmer. But
maybe it's the expectations. So I think he's a solid guy. Maybe Jag, maybe a little better than Jag.
He's above replacement, for sure, in my opinion.
But I guess you're never going to get what you would want. As far as we're concerned about really big games.
Yeah, upside, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Shakir or Palmer have upside. which I think the Bills have to look at it probably the same way. Like, hey, these are some reliable guys we know we can count on to not drop the football.
I just wonder if that means.
But upside-wise, like, they're either going to be taking a shot in the first again or in the early second on a receiver, or they have a lot of faith in Keon Coleman.
I think they have a lot of faith in. That's what I was going to say. Is I think they have a lot of faith in Josh Allen. I think they're just going to say, "Hey, we're just going to keep replacing everything else. You figure it out with the wide receivers we give you, and then we're just going to keep spending stuff on
But that's just my big
defense and
question mark is like that line of thinking is totally okay with me. You can be like, listen, Josh, we just had our best year and we spent like nothing on the offense. Yeah. It was just you, dude.
Yeah.
And you had your best year. This is the best the team's ever looked. But then they gave $100 million to Khalil Shakir and Josh Palmer, and it's like, okay, if you're going to spend $100 million, go get him a real weapon.
Yeah,
Don't feel like just cheap it out farther, and you can go lower than Josh Palmer for $12 million a year if you're going to go that route.
Like we talked about, like Chris Godwin and like some of these other guys, we talk about their deals, and it's like, just give me one of those guys, like, and then fill the roster with Jags,
Yeah, like De'Ami Brown signed for 1 year, $9 million, $10 million, something like that. They probably could have offered him 3 for like 26 and saved $10 million.
Yeah.
And been like, hey, do you want $16 million more and locked up with Josh Allen?
Yeah.
And then a chance at a real big contract afterwards, like as that slot. I don't know. I just feel like they could have done it a lot cheaper to get what they got.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
I kind of like it because of what you said. Josh Allen's going to do the work.
Right.
Now, I think what your argument is they're wasting money on these just regular guys, but I'm remembering Tom Brady's last year with the Patriots, last couple of years with the Patriots. And
Chris Hogan.
Like, he's not having any guys that are even, like, reliable.
Yeah. He had Edelman, right?
Yeah, he did have Edelman.
The corpse of Edelman.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't really healthy, but even if you don't have guys that are special, you need guys that are reliable who are going to understand the offense and be able to be in the right position that he's supposed to be in.
Did they have Devin Funchess?
The Bills?
No.
I think he's talking about the Patriots.
Oh.
I hope not.
I don't think so.
I feel like they have
Funchess.
Devin Funchess.
Well, he was drafted by the Panthers, right?
Yeah.
Then he converted to tight end? Is that correct?
I don't know if he did that. I don't know. I was just thinking of the old Patriots receiver.
Man, you want to go back. We're going on a little tangent here.
Let's go.
Not just Devin Funchess. My boy Kelvin Benjamin.
I love him.
You guys remember that guy as a rookie? He was a dog. Like an actual dog, and then he was like, guess what, guys? Me and Eddie Lacy hung out for like an hour.
Yeah.
I gained 45.
Actually, I did pretty good. So
I think that might be all she wrote in my NFL career. I gave all I could give.
They say treat yourself. So here I am. Twinkies.
He was a big and fast man. And then you just let it go. Just let it go. Too much Chick-fil-A.
And maybe that's the secret. You just got to be a big and fast man. And then you're going to be great. I mean, why not?
Didn't we talk about that over last week?
Damn. That's true.
Hey.
That should be our intro.
Yeah.
And then the lightning strikes. But no, I like Josh Allen, obviously. Man,
Hey, it's Fred Albert, and I'm gonna sing a song for